Hello and welcome to yet another midweek review of IPL. As we host this, there is the most interesting match going on in IPL. Mumbai Indians versus Chennai Super Kings. Two heavyweight teams with 9 trophies with them, fighting really hard this season to avoid being at the bottom. Strange scenario. But over the last 14 years, IPL as a tournament has never failed to give us scenarios that have not only questioned our game understanding, but also forced us to rethink the way the game is played. Today with me is Arun, one of the panelists in the Toast Network, but who also has been entertaining us and all the Facebook audience with some hilarious posts, which is either related to cricket or something else. So I'm sure Arun will give us his jestful take while we cover the games played this week. But hey, if you like our episodes, do like, share, and subscribe to our channel so that we can bring up more such interesting episodes. So Arun, the matches that we will focus today are Royal Challengers Bangalore versus Lucknow Super Giants and Delhi Capitals versus Punjab Kings.
Sorry, Bidhu, did that match actually happen? Delhi Capital, Punjab Kings, did it really happen?
I missed the first inning, so the time I logged on, the Delhi Capitals were already batting.
Precisely my feeling too,
of Punjab Kings.
I normally log in at 11:15, which is 3 hours and 45 minutes after a scheduled game, because that's when the match really heats up in IPL these days. And I figured out that the match was already over. I was like, okay, maybe, but to be fair, it was the most boring match that I have seen this season. So we will spend as little time as possible, just the amount of time that the match actually took, to complete. And then we'll focus on the other great game that we had, which was RCB this week. Yeah. Super. And a few words for the Delhi Capitals game, right? Because we need to spend some time on one more match. I thought David Warner is on fire. Yeah. So he's like 350 plus scores in this tournament. It's like him getting back to his Maike and paying really rich tributes to his first franchise. I think he's doing phenomenally well. And I believe that David Warner, of all the switches of players across franchises, I think David Warner's move is the biggest gain for Delhi Capitals and the biggest loss to Tollywood.
Right. Okay.
Tollywood. Yeah. And what's your take on the other match, Bidhu?
Look, the point that you are making about before going to the other match, I think people might have been forgetting when Delhi was called the Daredevils. They had all these players. They had Maxwell, they had AB de Villiers, they had Dilshan, Sehwag, Gambhir, Shikhar Dhawan, who all went out of Delhi and they started performing. And they would be thankful that once they got the chance to bring David Warner back, he has been performing really well for them. And especially how the last season went by with Sunrisers, the way the management was treating him. He was not only there in the dugout, but he was there in the stands to support the team. And coming back and performing. And the only reason his name is not in the top category is because Josh Butter is in some other level right now, scoring hundreds. Else David Warner would have been a front runner for Orange Cap. But happy for him. He always finds India as a venue where a lot of support is there for him as a person and as a human being, as a cricketer also. So he must be really happy just to be part of IPL instead of being in Sunrisers or Delhi.
I think he's scoring his success and hitting it to the places in the stands where he used to sit and watch the match and was part of his SRH. I think that's what he's generally sending it out as a message.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. And the other match, Bidhu?
It's strange to find RCB at the top position so soon in this tournament and consistently. And if you would have told me that into the 6th game, without much contributions of Virat Kohli, with AB de Villiers out of the side, where would you find RCB in the 10-team tournament? I would have thought of maybe 6, 7, because I would have predicted Glenn Maxwell would win them 1 or 2 matches. But right now they're at maybe 2 or 3 right now after the win that they had against the Lucknow Super Giants, who incidentally were in the top position. So I think for them and for all the fans of RCB, it's a very special year. And hopefully, Virat Kohli will come to some level of form before they reach the top 4 and then carry the team on his shoulder, hopefully.
I'm sure. Actually, people think that Virat Kohli is not in form. I can tell you he's in full form. In fact, he's on ChloroForm. when he gets to the pitch as a batsman, he sometimes just blanks out in the middle of the pitch, and he's now scored a golden duck as well. I think the next level for him to go is to get run out as a non-striker without facing a delivery. Only that is the next best after a golden duck that he can really go after. And on that note, Bidhu, just a question for you and your thoughts. Would Kohli, the captain, would have ever retained Kohli, the player, after 100 innings without 100 in any form of cricket? I find it a bit hypocritical. Maybe he's riding his goodwill for way too long. But your thoughts on that?
There are a couple of ways to look at it. I mean, on a human level, if you just see what has transpired with him as a player and as a cricketer since 2019, he has, he has started by leaving out the captaincy of Royal Challengers Bangalore. Then he left India's T20 captaincy. Then he was taken out of ODI captaincy, and subsequently he left his Test captaincy as well. And the form dipped at the same time. And also the players or the management with whom he was very comfortable, be it Ravi Shastri or even the Test side, the Rahanes, Pujaras, they also have been either not performing or they have gone out of the Indian team. So there is a substantial shift which is happening with him as a player and as a person. And just multiply that with this COVID bio bubbles. I'm not sure how much he enjoys the bio bubble. And being the leader, I'm not sure whether he can be very vocal about how it impacts him. We saw that happening in the Test series against Australia when he was out because of some family commitments, and someone else stepped in and won a lot of games. Few eyebrows were raised about whether it was time for him to give up or not. And that would have played in his mind. Like if your own supporters are questioning your performances, your ability to lead, then what exactly is his place in the Indian team? But I think over a period of time, you realize that you cannot perform at your peak performance. And so if he can understand that now his role is not to carry the team, but facilitate the young players who are around him, much like what Sachin did from the years of 2008 to 2011. I mean, from 2008 to 11, Sachin was not the primary batsman of India. It was about Dhoni, Yuvraj, even Kohli during that time. So if he can play that role, not only in RCB, but also in Indian team, I think it would add some more glory days because he's still 33, 34, and with his fitness level, he can go on for the next 3-4 years. With IPL, whether he would have retained him, I think there are a lot of players who are just playing because of some of the other reasons. You have Manish Pandey, you have Ajinkya Rahane, who have not really set IPL on fire, but they still play because of their pedigree and their potential to do well. So I think, in fairness, RCB would have retained him, and also the player connect. I think he is one of the last players who would have started in RCB and is still continuing with RCB.
Sure. In fact, I think he's been very lucky, right? In the sense that during the Test matches, he had Pujara and Rahane give him company, so his non-performance kind of didn't. And then when it comes to T20s, he has Rohit Sharma for company. What more, right? Who's not scoring runs either. So you can't point that one finger at him because he always has someone for company. And talking a little bit about Punjab Kings, what I find fascinating about Punjab Kings is that they're always third from the bottom, irrespective of the number of teams that are competing. This is some bronze level consistency they've got right from the bottom. I did this little research where 2019, 2020, and 2021 they were sixth in position, and now they are eighth. How do you think they're able to manage it with a lot of promise, with an auction or without an auction? Somehow they paper away. What is so special about Punjab Kings to retain that consistency?
Hard to say. I mean, they're consistent in one thing at least. But look, they started off well by defeating the Royal Challengers Bangalore, who are in red hot form. And they did score above 200 runs. And they showed a lot of promise with the batting lineup. And during that time, Johnny Bairstow had not yet come to the team. So given the fact that without Johnny Bairstow, they did that well. And I think in the next 4-5 games, they posted 180 plus scores 4 times. They posted it against CSK, Mumbai, Gujarat. But they failed to defend it against Gujarat, and that's where the problem began. Because I feel the approach which Anil Kumble has for the team is much like what England does, because I think they have a lot of English batsmen there with Livingston and Bairstow. It's just that to keep on scoring run, irrespective of what the pitch is or irrespective of how much wicket you lose. Like you get bowled out for 18 overs, but you score that 180, 200 runs. That is the philosophy there. But what is happening is that even if they do score that much, they don't have the bowling lineup to defend it, as you saw against Gujarat Lions when they scored 180 runs, which in turn is putting added pressure on the batsmen. Like if suppose they have to score 180, now they're targeting 200, or probably if they have to score 200, they're targeting 220. And with players like Liam Livingston, you would bound to get one or two matches where they would fail miserably, because that's the approach they're taking. They're just trying to hit everything out of the park. And Johnny Bairstow has not come to the party yet. It's been 4 games, and the person that he replaced, it was Bhanukar Rajapaksa, had played 2 good knocks, and he has replaced him, and yet he is unable to score much of a runs. Down the order, they also have problem. They had big hopes on Shah Rukh Khan, but he has not yet delivered them a lot of runs. Odin Smith has been in and out. The only saving grace is Jitesh Sharma, who has been performing consistently, getting those 30-35 odd runs to take them to a respectable total. But not only the philosophy is failing flat, but the fact is the batsmen have been highly inconsistent. Even Shikhar Dhawan or Mayank Agarwal, they need to play that anchor role, which KL Rahul was playing for them last season. But right now, it's not looking good for them. And with the fact that other teams are actually coming into the form, you see the Lucknow Super Giants, RCB, Rajasthan Royals, I think 3 or 4 players actually playing well for them. So I think they would end up at this position. I don't see them actually going into the top 4 again.
If I were really mean, I would say the secret recipe in the sauce is Anil Kumble for the consistency. I think he's been one constant force through these years for Punjab Kings. So that could be one. And the second is there's this campaign called Thoda, Rukh, Shah Rukh. Have you heard of that, Bidhu? I think the wrong Shah Rukh took note of it. It doesn't seem to be firing one bit. Yeah, so that seems to be the Punjab Kings case. And DC, in my opinion, Bidhu, seems to be the team with the best set of all-rounders. And if you're wondering why, Rishabh Pant, Sarfaraz Khan, right? And a few more people in that side, they all seem to be so round. It feels like, wow, this is yo-yo gone all wrong. I really want Virat Kohli to have one yo-yo test done with all of them. And then maybe he can even select Dhoni's grandfather in his team. Maybe they would be more fit than him. But yeah, you can blame me for body shaming, but so be it.
I mean, yo-yo test, is it happening? I think Rohit Sharma has been getting selected easily. You have Ravi Ashwin getting back. I'm not very sure what the status right now on yo-yo tests, but I'm sure that Suresh Raina had failed it to get into Indian team because of a yo-yo test. So contrasting views, contrasting theories about that particular test.
Yeah, at Shardul Thakur, I don't think he's getting any leaner. I think he's back to his glory days. Yeah. And Dinesh Karthik seems to be the flavor of the season, Bidhu. I have a slightly contrary view. If we take the average of Dinesh Karthik before the first dropped catch in each of his innings, I don't think he would be averaging in double digits. Is he overrated? And I know this is an extremely unpopular opinion. Yes, his second innings in every inning seems to be really good. He seems to be timing the ball exactly after the first dropped catch. Is it his form or is it poor fielding? Can he expect the same level of charity if he indeed makes his dream come true of traveling to Australia? One, the size of the boundaries, I think that doesn't seem to be as much of a problem given that he's close to the second tier. But is he truly that big a genius or is it just largest from the other side?
I mean, charity-wise, he allowed Parthiv Patel to come into the Indian team when he was there. He allowed an MS Dhoni to come into the side when he was already the first choice wicketkeeper. He allowed MS Dhoni to captain the Indian team. So he has that level of charity, but missed chances, it's not his fault. It's up to the bowlers or the batters or the fielders to take it. But if you take that out, the way he's performing, I think he is giving a good enough shot to be recognized as a number 6, number 7 for India. And you can see the impact all around. I mean, Hardik Pandya is starting to bowl. Ravichandran Ashwin is starting to bat. Rishabh Pant is starting to improve his wicket-keeping skills. So the effect of Dinesh Karthik doing well is like bringing waves to all the players who are actually feeling the heat. Like he might just take their role into the Indian team. But saying that, I'm a little bit happy for him also, given the fact that he had to be in an era where, like a certain MS Dhoni did captain India, and hence Dinesh Karthik could not find a spot. And even when he was doing well against the Bangladesh team with the Nihadas trophy, he did not get a longer run for whatever reasons that may be. Whether you are grooming young keepers or you are having all-rounders at that slot and asking a KL Rahul to keep. But if he has shown the potential and given the 2 World Cups around the corner, and he's still fit, it's not that he is a liability on the wicket keeping or he is running between the wickets have been affected by his age. So we might see him like a Michael Hussey type of a player for India.
Nice. I mean, I would love to see him on the plane to Australia, play in Australia. No two ways about it. But just wanted to put that little provocation in there. Right. And talking about the RCB LSG match, the standard of umpire, oh my God, Josh Hazelwood actually went on record and said he'll get a beer for his captain. Yeah, so the new rules seem to be confusing. If I take stands a little further away from off stump, then you can bowl all the way up to cover point. I mean, this just goes a little berserk and bizarre that way. And the next ball, Marcus Stoinis is getting out. I don't know if 34 of 11 versus 34 of 10 would have made that big a difference. But overall, there have been reviews that have been taken to compete with poor umpiring. The captains have also, fielding captains have taken reviews for bat in front of wicket as well. What's really happening on umpiring and the kind of reviews that have been going? Is it because of poor umpiring that the fielders think they can go for reviews, or what exactly is happening?
I'm also not very sure. I mean, sometimes people used to say the crowd noise used to distract the umpires, but right now there's 50% or 80% capacity. There's no crowd there. No feasible reason that I could give apart from the fact that you might just bring in more international umpires with a lot of exposure in high pressure situations. And interestingly, it only affects RCB. I remember a couple of IPLs back, there was a game against Mumbai Indians, and in the last over, I think Malinga bowled a no ball, and it was not given. And RCB lost that match. And Virat Kohli was very vocal in the press conference, in the presentation, that these kind of errors actually not only turn the match, but also turn the tournament on its head. And we have seen multiple times, players getting a wrong decision and how it totally derails the flow of the game. But as players, I don't think much can be done. You have the fines for dissent. You cannot tell anything to the umpires. The only thing is that they have 2 reviews right now, which actually brings me to the question, like, is that the reason why matches have been going slow, or there are other reasons as well? Because there are a lot of matches which have been played over 4 hours. And you rightly mentioned that you log in after 11:15 to see the matches. And what's the scene out there?
I'll tell you something. In Mumbai, wedding halls, okay, what used to happen was they really timed the time for which you can rent the hall. And starting 8:30, they'll ring a bell once. 8:45, a second bell goes. At 9 o'clock, they'll start switching off the lights. Given that IPL is happening there, I think it's time that the stadium guys also start doing it. It feels more like, you know what, we are not seeing enough of Ranveer Singh in the advertisements breaks at all. So let's keep extending it. We are here to watch cricket, not Ranveer Singh, for heaven's sake. Right? So it really beats me why it goes for 4 hours. And Bidhu, lastly, I would like to end this on a very nice note, really happy note, with nothing about cricket, but about a cricketer. Wishing Devon Conway a very happy married life. He had a pre-wedding bash in total Tamil style, which I really liked, because CSK doesn't have any Tamil players, but at least they can do pre-wedding ceremonies and and parties in Tamil style. That's really sweet of him. And people are saying he could go get married, finish his honeymoon, and then come back to play IPL. Not 2023, 2022. And that's how long the tournament is also going to go along, right? So best wishes to him. Anything from your side for Devon Conway or for IPL in general, Bidhu?
I mean, it's refreshing to see a lot of players coming in and getting used to the Indian culture. It's always a pleasure to host people from outside to make them aware of the culture. We have seen Glenn Maxwell do that. We have seen Sean Tate come into Indian tradition. Brett Lee is very fond of Indian tradition, and right now Devon Conway. So right now it's much of Australia and New Zealand coming in and getting used to our culture. And I think if other countries from the other part of maybe Britain or South Africa, they see a chance, we are happy to host them any party. we are fun-loving people. We enjoy get-togethers. We enjoy hosting people, and we enjoy good pictures of them with traditional attires as well. So fascinating. I'm really happy for him. And he has not get a game, I think, for CSK, but I think he would
He
be
played
really happy.
one or maybe two in the beginning, and I think what people say is once they knew that he was not going to be there for the full duration, they started a few replacements and stuff. Like Uttapa came in because of him as an opener, right? So
Okay.
that's what has happened. So wishing him well. Super, Bidhu. Thank you so much for having me on the show, and you can thank me for having yourself on the show because both of us are hosts and both of us are panelists.
Thank you
And
so
like
much.
Bidhu mentioned right in the beginning, if you like this show, like our YouTube video, subscribe to our channel. You will see videos coming up every few days now with the IPL fever on. And we would love to have your comments as well as to how we can improve our show if that's the case, or if you love the show, please give us a shout out. We'll be really, really pleased to hear about it. Any final words from you, Bidhu?
Thank you so much, Arun. We will see you next time I host you. I have the pleasure to host you, and I have noted it down. Kohli form, ChloroForm. I'll try to find the chemistry out of it because all the chemistry that Virat Kohli shows in the stadium is very palpable and very visible. But this chemistry, I'm unable to understand. I'll do my homework and let's see if audiences also find it out why you said that.
Super.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bidhu.
Bye.
See you.